Hi, everyone. Welcome to Strictly Sports. I am Jacob Brown. Today is our Los Angeles Dodgers season preview. They were 106 and 56. Yeah, that's a real record. They were holy shit good in the 2019 season. This is an amazing team, Steven. Join with Steven Cashin for this pod. We're going to do it how we always do it: adds, subtractions, lineup, bench, rotation, bullpen. This is a Dodger team that is pretty amazing. There's just no understating that. It's them and the Yankees in Major League Baseball right now, and there's just no other conversation. I mean, it's just really incredible what this team has done. So who did they lose? They lost a reliever, Yimi Garcia, to the Marlins. They lost Russell Martin. They don't really care about that. They lost Rich Hill to the Twins. They don't really care about that either. They let Hyunjin Ryu go to the Toronto Blue Jays in free agency. Alex Verdugo, young outfielder, was part of the Mookie Betts trade. He goes to Boston. And then Kenta Maeda, they lose as well to the Twins. I'm telling you, they lost Ryu, Maeda, and Hill, and they probably don't even care. And then who did they add? They added David Price from the Red Sox, big starting pitcher. They added Mookie Betts, a superstar player. Alex Wood from the Reds. We'll talk about him in a second. Jimmy Nelson from the Brewers, a starting pitcher. Blake Trinan from Oakland, and who was before in 2018 was the best reliever in baseball. And then they added Brusdar Graterol from the Twins, who was part of the Kenta Maeda trade. Dude throws gas at 100 miles per hour out of that pen with huge strikeout numbers in the minor leagues. So let's get to that lineup. And these stats are real, guys. I'm telling you, leading off and playing right field, it's Mookie Betts, hit 29 homers and 80 ribbies, a 135 weighted run rated plus, and a 380 WOBA. Then Cody Bellinger, oh my God, guys, 406 on base percentage, hit 47 home runs, 115 RBIs, a 162 weighted run rated plus, and a 415 WOBA. Absolutely insane numbers. Then you have Justin Turner at third base hitting third. And by the way, this is my projected lineup. You could do it literally in 20 different ways with this lineup. I have Turner hitting third in 135 games, 27 home runs, 67 RBIs, a 370 WOBA with a 132 weighted run created plus. Then Max Muncy, 35 bombs, 98 ribbies, the first baseman, 372 WOBA was a 407 in 2018, then a 134 weighted run created plus. That was a 162 in 2018. So still went down, but he's still a way above league average hitter. Then Jock Peterson, 36 home runs, 74 RBIs, playing left field, 362 WOBA, 127 weighted run created plus. Those are career highs on the WOBA and the weighted run created plus. Then Corey Seager, the shortstop, 134 games, 19 home runs, 87 RBIs, a 340 WOBA, 113 weighted run created plus. So on this team, that's their worst player. And then they have Will Smith, the catcher, 62 games in AAA, 399 WOBA, 130 weighted run created plus. And at the major league level, he had 15 home runs, 42 RBIs, a 369 WOBA, and a 132 weighted run created plus. To put that in perspective, I know it's a lack of games, but that's better than Gary Sanchez. And then at batting eighth, the number 2 prospect in Major League Baseball, 20th overall pick in 2016, second baseman Gavin Lux in 49 games at AAA. This is a real WOBA, a 490 WOBA with a 188 weighted run created plus with 13 home runs and 39 RBIs. That's insane. At the major league level, that went way down to a 301 WOBA and 87 weighted run created plus. But obviously willing to give the number 2 prospect in baseball another chance. I want to see what he can do at the major league level again. Steven, I mean, this lineup, man, best in the National League for sure, and it's either them or the Yankees is the
Yeah,
best in baseball.
I'm sitting here and I like it's almost like it puts you in awe. Like it's overwhelming. It just say that's the perfect word for it. It's overwhelming when you look at it. It just how are you going to get these guys out? You look at Mookie Betts, Cody Bellinger, Justin Turner, Max Muncy, Jock Peterson. When Corey Seager is your worst player, sitting at 19 homers, 87 RBIs, yeah, you're going to be competing for a lot of World Series, and you're not going to have a whole lot of trouble winning ball games. But a guy they went out and got Mookie Betts, and hopefully they do play this season because that's it. We talked about the year of service time with Price and Betts. I mean, so you're going to make that trade, and it's maybe worth nothing. But if you end up playing the season, you having Mookie Betts as your leadoff guy to complement with Cody Bellinger and Turner right behind him, I mean, there's not a hole in this lineup. The only holes I think you have are sitting at the 7 and 8 hole with a young Will Smith sitting there at the catching spot, but the stats have been there in the AAA level. They translated over to the MLB game, playing 54 games, and he played in the playoffs. He had spots out there, and you have Gavin Lux, who young player, great stats. His WOBA, weighted runs created plus, did drop off a little bit in the major league level. That happens. It's natural for a guy who just tearing it up in the farm system and to come to the major league level. Guys are throwing harder. It's a big adjustment, but if that's your biggest concern this year is Lux going to be able to perform at the major league level? I don't think there'll be a problem because there's so many superstars in this lineup that will help these young guys develop, and you just bounce off each other. When you have such a good lineup like this, guys that are struggling don't struggle for very long, and guys bounce back relatively quick. And it's going to be really fun to watch this team play, just lighting it up on the score sheet, and just it's crazy.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just every position you look at it. I mean Cody Bellinger, first of all, he won the MVP in 2019, so they have the defending NL MVP in their lineup. 47 bombs, 115 ribbies. It's just, I mean, those are video game numbers. It's crazy. And then Jock Peterson, 36 bombs, 74 ribbies, just sitting there in 5 hole, just low key sitting there. You don't even think about Jock, and it was his best career year last year. It's crazy. I mean, Max Muncy, he's rated again. MLB Network has some weird top 10 rankings, but I believe they ranked Max Muncy as their best first baseman in baseball. I think it's Freddie Freeman, but they had it as Muncy, so whatever. I mean, you just look all around here. Corey Seager, 19 homers, 87 RBIs. Like you said, when he's your worst player at a 340 WOBA, which is 20 over the league average, 13% above league average in weighted run created plus, I mean, you're talking there really is not a hole in this lineup. And with Gavin Lux, I'm willing to bet on him because I really consider him to be the best prospect in baseball. Why? Wander Franco, the number one prospect in baseball, the shortstop for the Rays, he's a far ways away. He's not major league ready. So I would just put Lux ahead of him just because he's projected to be in a major league lineup right now, and Franco is probably 2 to 3 years away. At least that's what the Rays say. If I were the Rays, I'd be fast tracking Franco to come up this year, but that's for a different podcast. So this Dodger lineup is complete. They even have guys on the bench, man. AJ Pollock, Chris Taylor on their bench. They are above major league average statistically. I mean, there's teams in this sport that, like the St. Louis Cardinals, they would kill for Chris Taylor or AJ Pollock on the bench with above major league average numbers. This is just a crazy offense.
Yeah, it's stupid how good these guys are. I mean, it's to me they are the benchmark for the league, and the Yankees are right behind them, and a very close second in my opinion. If not, they're almost equal. Having like I said, Pollock, Chris Taylor on the bench, who can really go and be a starter on any other team, and you have Kike Hernandez, who is a utility player, also another guy who can come up and really just and mold right into the starting lineup and just go and blow up another team. So just, I mean, it's impressive when you compare the two. Together and just being the benchmark for the league the last 3-4 years. I can't say enough about this lineup and jumping into the pitching too. That's impressive in itself too. But this 1 through 8 lineup, it blows your mind, and that's why they're able to win 105 plus games year in and year out. It seems like.
Oh, for sure. And I'm looking at these stats for the Yankees right now because you brought up the comparison, and I'm a Yankee fan. This is natural for me. I've gotta compare these two teams because let's just face it, these two are the favorites in each league. I look at it this way: Aaron Judge, a 382 WOBA and a 375 WOBA, a 136 weighted run created plus. He's slightly better than Mookie Betts, so you could say Judge and Betts are equal. I'm not going to say Judge is better because he played less games, and Betts also has an MVP and World Series under his belt. So I would say Betts and Judge are about even. Bellinger really is just the big difference here. There's no one on the Yankees that compares to Cody Bellinger, and that's really what sets them apart. But, you get DJ LeMahieu with 375 WOBA, 136 weighted run created plus. That's better than Jock Peterson. That is better. That's right with Max Muncy. That's better than Justin Turner. That's right around Mookie Betts. So you're talking the Yankees do have these hitters to compete, but it's so close. I would agree with you, though, just because Bellinger is the best player on both teams.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you got a guy like Bellinger that just comes up and just he controls the game. He can change a game, and not saying like that Judge and like DJ that made those guys are definitely big time players. I mean, I think, but Bellinger, like you look at him and his swing is so pure. Watching him out there, I mean, it's just smooth. He's silk up there. The moment doesn't ever get too big for him. And I look at comparing the two to Judge and Betts. I think that with Judge, I love his approach at the plate. But if he gets the strikeouts down just a little bit, I think he will be one of, if not the best player in all of Major League Baseball, just because the size he has, his ability to just, I mean, it's crazy. The guy it doesn't take much effort for him to hit a ball out of the ballpark. And DJ Mayhew too came out of nowhere. I mean, he to me, he has one of the best swings along with Bellinger in the league. Doesn't strike out a whole lot. It's a tough out. I mean, he battles and battles every time he's at the plate. Doesn't ever like give up on an AB. So looking at those two teams, I mean, they're going to be they're that's my World Series prediction. Just so top heavy, and I just a 7 game series of those two would just be incredible.
I know, Steven, we could keep raving about this lineup all day, but we've got to keep going here. Let's look at this starting rotation. And this rotation is pretty amazing, too. And I'll get to the comparisons in a second. I'll just read off their stats. Clayton Kershaw, you can go either way with this. They could either throw out Buehler out there because statistically Buehler was better than Kershaw, but Clayton Kershaw is Clayton Kershaw. He's going to get the opening day nod just because that's who he is. So that's why I put him as the opening day starter. In 28 games started, 178 innings, 3.03 ERA with a 3.86 FIP, a 9.54 Ks per nine rate, 2 walks per nine, and 189 total strikeouts. Walker Buehler, pretty incredible stuff. 182 in a third innings, 3.26 ERA, a FIP of 301, 10.6 strikeouts per nine, 1.83 walks per nine. His home runs per nine is 0.99. It says if a home run per nine is one or less, you're in the elite range. So Buehler's, and he had 215 total strikeouts. The new acquisition, David Price, 22 games started, 107 in the third innings, 4.28 ERA. His FIP was way lower at 3.62, 10.73 Ks per nine. It's actually really good. 2.6 walks per nine. He also, let's say more per season, he would have had more strikeouts than 128, only through 107 innings. Alex Wood is an interesting case. They let him go to Cincinnati in the Puig trade, barely pitched in 2019, but in 2018, in 27 games started with the Dodgers, had 151 and two-thirds with a 3.65 ERA, 8 strikeouts per nine, really low home run rate of 0.83. And then Julio Urias is projected to be their number 5 starter. He's been a prospect for them for a while. He threw a lot out of the bullpen last year, but as a starter, he threw 30 in the third innings, 3.26 ERA, 3.05 FIP with 4.6 strikeouts per nine. So a really low Ks per nine. They could also throw Dustin May in that 5 spot, though. He's the number 22 prospect in Major League Baseball. He had a 3.63 ERA and a 2.90 FIP in 34 and two-thirds Major League innings. But at the minor league level at AAA in 106 and two-thirds innings, his ERA was 3.38. So that might be a guy. He might even beat out Urias for that spot, and they might throw Urias back in that pen. If I'm the Dodgers, that's what I would do. But right now they have Urias as that number 5 guy. So if you look at this rotation, Steven, what do you think of it?
It's what you want it to be if you want to be a World Series contender. Kershaw has always been he's been a consistent ace for the last 3-4 years. I mean, he's just dominated. I mean, playoffs, it's another story. We know his track record there, but he wins you games. He's like Madison Bumgarner, elite category. He's a workhorse. He gives you 7-8 innings per start, almost it feels like. And then backing him up was Walker Buehler. Yeah, he has more. He's better. He had better stats last year, but a guy who I like in the 2 hole, not really relying on him a whole lot to be the guy. It takes a little bit of pressure off you, but his Ks per nine above a 10. His walks are really low. Home runs per nine less than 1. So you look at it. I mean, he's everything you want in a starting pitcher, along with Kershaw. Good 1-2 punch there, and then you add David Price. And I've liked him on the left-handed side. Played with the Rays 4 years. split time Detroit and Toronto, and now spent 3-4 years in Boston. Now he ends up in LA. He's proven he can do it. Now 4.28 ERA, some would say is a little high. He did play in Boston, short porches there. Struggled a little bit with his command. Strikeouts per nine are still high. Walks are down. 1, 2, 3 for this rotation is just it's beautiful. It's what you need if you want to win. And then you got Alex Wood, which will be interesting for me to see because he was hurt when he went to Cincinnati, like you said. Had great numbers in with LA, 3.8, 3.6 ERA. His strikeouts per nine, 8 per 9 innings. Walks are down as well. So, not you compare him to the top three there in that rotation. People are like, oh, it's not as good as Kershaw. Yeah, of course. But on this Dodgers team, you don't have to do a whole lot. The offense will carry their weight. They'll pick you up night in and night out. And then I look at the fifth spot, Urias. I mean, good guy. I think you've got to transition him back to the bullpen where he could help out a whole lot. There's not a lot of help needed over there, but I don't think he's quite a starter yet. I think you can mold him into being a starter a few years down the road, but I like him in the back end of that.
I agree with you. I would totally keep Urias in that bullpen, especially because you have Dustin May. I mean, what are you going to do with Dustin May? Put him back in AAA? I think just to keep both in the major leagues, you've got to do it that way. They also have Josiah Gray as a prospect in the minor leagues. He's number 67 in the major league, top major league prospects. We'll get to their minor league system in total in a second, though. I mean, the comparisons I was going to make before, and I know I'm a Yankee fan. I'm really not trying to be a homer here. But if you look at James Paxton, his FIP is the exact same as Kershaw's FIP at 3.86, and Paxton has more strikeouts per nine and only one more walk per nine. So if you look at Kershaw and Paxton, they're actually way closer to each other than you would think. And then if you're comparing best starter to best starter, well, Buehler is the best statistical starter for the Dodgers. Who's the best statistical starter for the Yankees? Garrett Cole. So I would say the Yankees and Dodgers rotations are actually way closer than people think. But I will say David Price beats Tanaka by far in that 3 spot. That's why Severino going down means so much. And then you go down that Yankee rotation, Jordan Montgomery, J. Happ. Montgomery's actually a hidden gem statistically. I think he can beat what Alex Wood is. And as far as Dustin May goes, who knows what the number 5 spots for both teams are. We'll have to see that by the end of the year. So what do you think about those comparisons?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Paxton comparison there. I mean, when I'm watching him, when he's on fire and he's rolling, his stuff is really good. It's hard to hit. He's deceptive. Balls are hard to square up on him. And you look at this, Severino losing him for the Yankees. That's brutal because I mean he's a guy who could be a horse there too. And you go number 1 for the Yankees, Garrett Cole to the Dodgers number 1. I think the Yankees take that one by a mile just because Garrett Cole is just so dominant. I mean, the strikeout numbers he has is insane. He's able to elevate the fastball enough where guys can't even hit it. But going down, comparing the two, they're very close to each other. But I give the starting pitching edge to the Yankees right now. But the Dodgers did a nice job in adding Price there and bolstering that rotation along with Buehler and Kershaw.
It's kind of like the Dodgers, punch. Right? You got to give the lineup to the Dodgers just because they have the best player. Same thing with the Yankee rotation. They have the best pitcher. And at the end of the day, Paxton and Kershaw are very, very close. People don't really realize. I mean, their FIPS are exactly the same. Paxton with 2 more strikeouts per 9 than Kershaw, way closer than people think. But where it really does split off, though, it's that what's really going to be key is Price versus Tanaka this year, what that looks like. Because if Tanaka – now, here's the difference. Because if you're talking World Series, it's totally different because Masahiro Tanaka in the playoffs is lights out.
Oh, yeah. You get him into the postseason, get him to October – it's like he flips a switch, and it's just a different person. His stuff is sharper. I don't know if he's saving his bullets for the postseason, not trying to tip off to other teams. I don't know what he does, but it's impressive to watch. He gets in his zone and just he doesn't deviate from his mission and his approach to getting guys out. And it's
that's
fun
one
to watch.
Difference between him and Price, other than the World Series that the Red Sox won. It was just that individual series. Before that, he was struggling mightily. David Price really been an amazing playoff pitcher other than the 2018 World Series.
Yeah, he like you hit it right on the head. The postseason struggles have followed him throughout his career. I mean, he had that one World Series run with the Red Sox and kind of flipped a switch there and became a new pitcher. But you know, his track record shows he when the moment gets big, he kind of the ball gets tighter, grip gets tighter, and his stuff isn't as good as it is in the regular season. Excuse me, but I mean, I think now being around in a star-studded lineup, maybe there's confidence there too. Like he was with the Red Sox, they had such a stacked lineup. Now maybe he can go out there and be like not as worried about not trying to give up as many runs, and their offense will pick him up. So that's kind of a thing too mentally for a pitcher when you have guys that can pick you up on the offensive side. So we'll see if that helps them out here in LA, but definitely like their
All right, let's
rotations
look
up
at
there.
bullpens. This is interesting for the Dodgers. It can go a lot of different ways. Kenley Jansen is not the dude he used to be. He's still effective, but he's not the dude he used to be. 33 saves, that's good. 3.71 ERA, that's high. 11.43 strikeouts per nine, I like it. But again, Kenley Jansen used to arguably be the best reliever in baseball. He's not even top 10 anymore. Pedro Baez, 3.10 ERA. Joe Kelly, 10.8 Ks per nine. Ross Stripling, and we forgot to mention this too, the Dodgers almost traded away Jock Peterson and Ross Stripling to the Angels, but that trade got called back because the arbitration negotiations weren't finished with Peterson, so the trade was called off. So they still have Stripling and Peterson. But the big wild card for me in this pen for the Dodgers is Blake Trinan, a .78 ERA with 11.2 Ks per nine in 2018. I'm not saying, hey, dude, come back. You have to pitch a 1 ERA for us. But if he can come back, his ERA is around 2.5 with the same strikeouts per nine. You're talking Trinan, Baez, Kelly, Jansen as a collective group. That's a really good bullpen.
Yeah, they have a ton of strikeout potential, and when they get out there, not many base runners are not many free passes are given up either. It's hard to muster anything late in the game with these guys out there. I like Joe Kelly a lot. His stuff has been really good the last few years. Kenley Jansen has struggled the last year and a half, but definitely the strikeout stuff is still there for him, and he'll figure it out. And he doesn't blow a whole lot of saves. He had a little rough patch there, mid to late July last year, where he had a few blown saves, but you got Stripling back there. I think that was a blessing in disguise for the Dodgers for that Peterson and Stripling trade not to go through. Definitely both keeps their depth in that bullpen strong. They got Trinan. I mean, she's .78 ERA, 11.2 Ks per nine, and in 18. But that bullpen is stacked. I mean, it just you go down this whole 40-man roster, and they're doing things the right way, and they're keeping that winning formula out there. And it's going to be scary facing that bullpen.
I agree. And if we had to compare, just to keep comparing, I would probably take the Yankees bullpen over the Dodgers as well, with Canely, Ottavino, Britton, Chapman back there that are lights out. Like I said in the prior pod, when those four pitched in the same game, the Yankees only lost 2 games. So the Dodgers don't have that. They still have a very, very, very good bullpen. It might be neck and neck, 1 and 2. Maybe the Mets are number 2. The Padres could be number 2. But, I mean, I would even say, actually, Steven, the Padres bullpen might be better than the Yankees and Dodgers bullpen by the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. We can compare the Yankees and Dodgers. We can do that all day if we wanted to. But I think the Padres, they sit right there with them. I mean, 1, 2, 3 right there. You can compare – you can do a roulette wheel with those 3, and just like I think the Padres that their 1, 2, 3 punch is just so it's dominant because the ERAs are low and they strike a lot of guys out and they don't give up many base runners. They just throw their stuff and they go, you know what, try to beat me, and hitters can't seem to find any way to have success against these guys. So I would give the Padres, I think, the nod as almost maybe the best back end bullpen in the league, but. We'll see, but I just really hope this MLB season gets started because I really want to see all this stuff pan out.
Yeah, I really do want to see it because, like you mentioned earlier, if there's no season, then the service time counts for Mookie Betts. He'd become a free agent. I mean, I'm kind of thinking to myself, I feel like the players might reach some middle ground with some of these teams and say, you know what, let me honor my commitment that I had with you and not just leave because my service time's up. So maybe Mookie Betts says to himself, you know what? Let's try it out in LA and try and win my second ring.
Yeah, I would agree too. I mean, I had the same mindset as you. I mean, I think if the season is a wash and they don't end up playing, I think players will come to a compromise and be like, you know what? I was going to play here. I never did. I'm not going to just get up, pack my bags, and leave. I think he's got a good thing going if he stays in LA because his team is stacked. You can win a World Series here. I think you go and move somewhere else and try to go get your money. I get it. You're looking out for your livelihood. This is like everything they've worked for in their entire lives, and they want to make as much money as they can. But I think if he wants to win another World Series, stay winning. I think he has to stay in LA. Just try it out, like you said. Experiment. It could go really well. If it doesn't work out, you can go and leave. And
At the end of the
say
day,
you
too,
at
the
least gave it a
Dodgers have
shot.
money. They have a lot of it, actually. They're not really, people always think like, oh, they're paying a ton of people. They're really not. I mean, Mookie's going to make his money, but Bellinger doesn't have his contract yet. Turner's on, a pretty expensive contract, but not at the level of what a Betts or Bellinger would be. Muncy hasn't been paid yet. Jock and Seager haven't been paid yet. Obviously Kershaw is making a ton of money. David Price is making a lot of money, but Bueller's not being paid yet. So the Dodgers certainly have the money to give a big deal out to Betts.
Yeah, they definitely have money to fish out. They're right there with the Yankees. They can spend the big dollar. That's how they're able to get that winning formula year in and year out because they get free agents to come to them. They know they can give them a hefty paycheck, and I think they'll be able to keep Betts, but you just never know. The cards are in his hands, and he can play it however he wants to. He can just get up and leave, and maybe he's already set on going somewhere else, and maybe he doesn't want to be in LA. But we'll see. I really hope he gets to try it out here in LA because I think he would be surprised at how much this team could win and
I
really
think,
just
though, I
try to get a
mean,
World Series
maybe it's
title
his only
there.
choice because who else can pay Mookie Betts the money that he wants? The Phillies have already spent it on Harper. The Padres have already spent it on Machado. The Yankees have way too many people to pay. The Twins don't have that type of money. Maybe the White Sox are a team, because they were going after Manny Machado, but they've been spending a ton of money too. They just paid for Grandal and Edwin Encarnacion and Dallas Keuchel, so they've been spending money too. I look around the league. Does Betts even have a choice here?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, he's very I think he's limited to his options, and some I was listening to some Boston fans. They were
He very
saying
well
maybe he
could.
goes. Do you think he goes back to Boston? And I think do they think they got these assets in that
Yeah,
trade? They
Verdugo. Yeah.
got was it Verdugo, right? I believe he went to yeah, they got him in that trade. And you think, well, you think does he play there 1 year and walk back to Boston and be like, wow, we was it what a steal? But I don't think that'll happen. I think it's kind of far fetched. I think for a team that let him go and traded him, I think he stays in LA. I don't think he. I think those are his two
Plus,
options.
I
He either
mean,
goes
think
back to
about it, man. I
Boston
mean,
or he stays in LA.
players like
Those are the
attention.
two.
At the end of the day, they have egos. You're going to be more popular in LA than you would be in Boston.
Yeah, I think the fans too in LA are a little bit more lenient than Boston fans. If you go to Boston and you're not producing, you're in the doghouse pretty quick. LA, they want to see a World Series. It's been a while since they've captured that title. So anything they can get and anything to bolster this team and kind of springboard them
Yeah,
into
and back to that
winning a World
Boston
Series,
theory. Now
they'll
that I'm
take it.
thinking about it, I mean, the reason they got rid of Betts was because they were paying too much money to too many people. Now they got rid of Price's contract, so if they brought Betts in, at least Price's money would be off the table. But they're still paying JD Martinez a ton of money right now. So to me, you'd have to trade JD Martinez in order to get Mookie back. But then what's your team at that point? It's Mookie, Benintendi, Bogarts, Devers. So it's still a really good team even without JD Martinez. To me, if Boston's going to get Betts back, that's what they got to do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's their only way. And like I said, there's his options are
Yeah.
limited, and
Plus, Boston
I
doesn't even
agree with
have
you
a bull.
100% on
We
that
haven't
one.
done the Red Sox pod yet, but they have a terrible bullpen. So they need to reallocate their money in other places. They still haven't even paid Bogarts, Benintendi, Devers. So they can't keep. It really doesn't make any sense. So let's look at the prospects here for the LA Dodgers. So we mentioned Lux and May, who are probably going to have a big impact on the big league level. Then you look at Josiah Gray through 3 minor league levels at a 2.28 ERA in baseball. So he reached Double A. Maybe he's a guy. He's here in 2021 after going through a year at Triple A. You never know. Then they have a catching prospect at number 73, Keibert Ruiz. Not great offensively, 261, 6 home runs at Double A and Triple A, so not tremendous. And then at number 83, Brusdar Graterol, like I said, 1.92 ERA, 12 strikeout. Sorry, what did he have? 12 Ks in 12 innings at the major league at Double A, and then a 4.66 ERA and 9 2/3 in the major league. So this is a guy. I don't know if you've seen him on Pitch Ninja, on Twitter or Instagram anywhere, but his pitches move. They're really crazy pitches.
Yeah, I've seen some of his highlights, and it's like it's crazy the movement he has on his on. I believe it was a two seam he throws, and the tail action it's got on it. It's just nuts. I mean, talk about a team that has loaded up in prospects too. Like they mold these guys up, and they have so much talent at the top level that they don't ever some of these guys never even get called up. They get sent in trade packages and
Oh
they
yeah,
get guys in return for them. So they do the formula there for like the Yankees do the same thing. You don't see many guys go from single A to the top in their organization. They usually get traded out in packages to get these flashy guys that they like a Mookie Betts, for example, or like Aaron Judge was the last one. I remember watching him in single A
yeah.
going up from the bottom to the top. But the Dodgers have done a great job in just constantly breeding talent and getting him to the top, and
Yeah, right. I mean, the
keeping that
Dodgers
formula
did
to
this, in terms of bringing people up through the minors. They did it with Bellinger. They did it with Seager. They did it with Jock. They did it with Lux. Probably they did it with Lux. And the Yankees did it with Judge. They did it with Gleyber Torres. When they got him from the Cubs, they sent him to Single A. They did it with Miguel Andujar. Gary Sanchez went through the minor league system. So both teams, their cores come from the minor leagues, but it's that one extra star and those periphery players that the Yankees and Dodgers always tend to pick off other teams.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a hard form. It's hard to compete with that because many teams like grind so hard to get their prospects to be their franchise players, and these two teams have at their disposal prospects from AAA all the way down to rookie ball. I mean, it's crazy, and then they got superstars in their roster already as it is, and it's very hard to compete with those two teams that just do it the right way.
100%. And I think we've covered everything here other than the off-season grade. I think everyone knows we're not even going to waste time. The Dodgers will win the division, and we've already said they're going to go to the World Series. But what would you give them for an off-season grade?
I give an A along with the Padres. They're the two teams I've given A's to just because of the talent they've added in the offseason and not losing a whole lot. They got Mookie Betts in the trade, David Price in the Boston trade as well. Alex Wood, I like it's a sneaky addition to that the rotation. You got Jimmy Nelson too from Milwaukee, Treinen from Oakland, and you didn't really lose a whole lot. You lost Hill and Ryu, but that's not a big deal to me because this lineup is just so stacked.
I agree with you.
You're not going to
another
miss
thing,
a
man.
beat.
Like Ryu is, I don't think he's going to do that again. He's been around the league for 7-8 years now, and that was the first time he was ever that good. And it just happened to be in a contract year, just in time for him to get a big fat 4-year contract in Toronto. I think Ryu is overrated, quite frankly.
Yeah, it kind of came out of left field there. His stats last year. I mean, it's something I had never seen. Like it caught people off guard, and yeah, in a contract year, you see that more often than not now in sports, where guys go into a year where they're about to get paid, and they just go off the charts. So definitely, I don't think I'll be surprised if he backs it up. We'll bite our words, but I don't see him having a career year like he did last year.
Yeah, and just think about it. Would you rather have David Price or Hyunjin Ryu? And I'd rather have David Price.
Yeah, I'll take David Price all day. I'll take the lefty, who has proven he can do it year in and year out. He's won a World Series.
Yeah, and I would say same thing with
David Price
Alex Wood. Is it
Ryu.
Alex Wood or is it Kenta Maeda? You can go either way. So, and then Rich Hill too. They've dealt with so many problems with Rich Hill. It seems like every other start he's out with a blister. I mean, I think you've probably been updated on him with the blisters and the hand problems. Like he misses a lot of time every year. and he's even missing the first half of the year for the Twins.
Yeah, I mean that's who. And when your starting pitcher becomes a liability out there, and he's always seen to be hurt, oh, it's a hamstring or it's a my finger, it's almost excuse boulevard over there. But I mean, yeah, injuries are injuries, but when that starts to happen, you're one of your top five guys can't stay healthy and give you the innings you want. It's time to move on, and you definitely have a good replacement, and you have Alex Wood, who, if he stays healthy, will be a great addition to that rotation again, and they'll be just fine. This team is the sky is the limit for
100%.
them,
And then that'll do it for
be
this
really
Los
fun to
Angeles
watch.
Dodgers 2020 season preview. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and a lot more. You can also follow us on Twitter at Strict Sports FAU. And tomorrow we'll be starting on the American League finally. Actually, no, tomorrow you're going to be getting our National League playoff preview, and then we'll go into the American League and do our Seattle Mariners season preview. We'll start with the AL West, then go to the AL Central, and finish off with the AL East. Because, we got to have a little bias in there, Steven. You're a Rays fan. I'm a Yankee fan. We want to save our teams for last.
Yeah, you guys. I think that'll be one of the more fun podcasts we talk about, just because we're fans of them, and it's always good to talk about your hometown team, and it's just I love baseball, and it's just I love talking about every single team, but we're a little bit, we can be homers there for a little bit, but I'm just excited for this season to get going, and it'll be really fun. I'm just banking off and waking up tomorrow morning, and baseball's back. But we'll see.
100%.
We'll take it day by day,
just letting you know, Steven,
see where
I've
it
been on
takes
the
us.
grind in the video game, MLB The Show world. I am. I was losing, man. I was 10-16 at one point, and now I'm 16-16. I'm starting to win again, and I play on Legend hitting mode. If anyone wants to know, that is so hard to play on the video game, man.
Oh, it is. And I was watching. Speaking of the show,
Yeah.
we had our Blake Snell and Aaron Judge were on together the other night, and they have a little wager going on this year, a 5K wager. Whoever's team wins more games.
Wait, what did you say?
Loser
Wait.
donates
What did you say? Blake
$5,000
Snell
to
is
charity of their
donating
choice. I thought that
$5,000
was
to
pretty
charity
funny.
because they lost the bet.
So if they well, they have a wager for this upcoming season. So Aaron Judge and Snell both agreed on if the Yankees win more games, then Snell will donate the money to Aaron Judge's charity of choice.
Well,
If
that's
the
what
Rays
I'm
win more
asking. I'm
games than the
saying, did
Yankees,
Snell already give the
vice
money
versa,
away?
Judge will
Because he
donate the
pretty
money
much lost
for
the bet.
Snell's.
Wow.
Oh no. Yeah, that's that's funny. I mean, I think he's already in for a loss there. I don't see the Rays being able to keep up with the Yankees there, but we'll see. Yeah, definitely a fun bet there. Those two are good friends, and it'd be fun
Hopefully we
to
will
see them
see it.
on
And those
a
two
diamond
teams, by the
together
way,
at
are
some point
closer
this
than a
season.
lot of people think. So that'll do it for this edition of Short Strictly Sports. I'm Jacob Brown for Stephen Cashin, and we will see you next time.